So basically, the player plays a character who's been exiled from their homeland. They've committed a crime, which varies depending on their character class, and have been exiled to the world of Wraeclast, which is a very hostile, forbidding continent.
Dude, Chris was here.
Everything, ranging from the monsters to the environment to other players, are out to get them here, and they have to forge their way in this world. But we stress, it isn't about the player saving the world. In this case, they're trying to save themselves, and to gain tools that allow them to survive against the wilderness.
Greetings gamers, I'm Gav. This is the story of Grinding Gear Games and the creation of their amazing title, Path of Exile. From Chris Wilson's garage to where they are today, GGG's consistent communication and openness with the community regarding their development set a new standard in the space. A connection between the player and the developer that's unfortunately been lost over time in many genres and titles. They do right by the fans of their game and are constantly delivering fantastic content. Officially announced in 2010, Path of Exile has continued growing its dedicated player base year over year ever since. In this video, I'll start from the very beginning when the studio and game were first being established, all the way to the successful launch of their game in 2013. I won't be going over every patch or how the game has evolved over the years, but perhaps in a future video we can take a look at the patch-by-patch progression of the game. I'll list off what I think are the top 3 major contributors to Path of Exile's long-term success. And at the end of the video, we'll take a brief look at how they're bringing over a decade of experience into their highly anticipated sequel, Path of Exile 2, which is set to release in early access later this year. Alright, let's venture all the way back to the beginning and
It's releasing in 11 weeks, 5 days, 3 hours, and 25 minutes.
dive in.
Log in. Log in.
At the age of 5 in the mid-1980s, a young Chris Wilson stared longingly at the new Amiga 500 computer system that his parents had brought home. He was still a bit young and his parents were apprehensive about allowing Chris to use it just yet. Keeping the computer away from him, however, only sparked his curiosity further. By the age of 7, Chris had already started to program on that very same Amiga 500 system.
He's programming.
His obsession had begun. Fast forward to Chris's teen years spent at Avondale College, a secondary school located in his hometown.
Bro, programming at 7? Wait, the cunt's programming at 7? Bro, my daughter's 6. My daughter's 6 and she's like learning to spell. The fuck? Wait, is he exaggerating? Bro. The fuck is this? My kid is not bricked, bro. Okay, she can make really good art. You know, she can write stories. But like, dude, programming, there must be a level of exaggeration going on there, bro. Okay, unless there's like I don't know.
Town of Auckland, New Zealand.
Let's get to the history of the company. Chris, yes, and Jonathan, how and when did you guys first meet?
So, at high school, there was this computer in the library that had a copy of Quick Basic installed on it. And that was kind of because they didn't have it in the computer labs, of course, because why would you do that? So I'd go there in the library at lunchtime to do some programming, and this is when I was like 16 or so. And so one time there's this kid on the computer, and I'm like, hey, kind of, you know. So you
What the fuck? Hey.
So I introduced myself and we were chatting. He was a few years younger than me, and so we started talking about coding, and kept in touch pretty well as I went to university. Then he went a few years later, and we were good friends, and eventually decided that once we get out of university, we're going to go make a game. We weren't sure what it was yet, and
I think we had a vague idea.
We had ideas, but it was
Copy D2
for that game at all?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, we both played a lot of D2 together.
Copy D2, baby.
You know, by the time Jonathan finished university, we were pretty set on this idea that everyone was terrible at making action RPGs, and we could actually make a good one, which is
based, bro. Based. Holy, dude. Do you know what? I was a fucking noob, bro. Like, actually, Chris knew, bro. Do you know that's actually crazy? Because I played D3, and I was like, man, I really like D3. D3 is such a cool game, bro. No, but they knew it was shit. They knew it was shit. But that's because they had, to be fair, I wasn't a D2 Andy, so then how could I know it was shit? I had the context of like, I thought WoW was the best game, and D2 was pretty cool. This is the logic I had. So then, you know, I was not enlightened, right? So my worldview was bricked because of the fact that I'd never played like good ARPGs. So I didn't know what I was missing out on, right? Actually.
Hubris and crazy when you were just a couple of random guys in your very early 20s. I think you were like 20 years old
Yeah, 20.
at the time. We hadn't had commercial game development experience. We were just hobbyists. like way less qualified than most of the people we hire now.
Jonathan and Chris were fast friends with a shared dream of making a game together. This was much more preferable to them than making a career out of the mundane software industry at the time. Through their love of Diablo 2, Jonathan and Chris would find the next piece of their puzzle by pure happenstance. They found their art director, Eric Olafsson.
Eric, how and when did you join this ragtag couple of guys?
The art guy.
So first of all, I actually met Chris in a Diablo 2 strategy forum, so that would be maybe around year 2000 or so. So that was back in the day. It was harder to find out the best builds and so on. You didn't have streamers and everything back then. But then
What was that streamer Andy? You laughing that loud, bro? Where's that? Who the fuck's what streamer Andy's in the audience right now? Was that Gassy TV, bro? Who was that?
a few years after that, I got a random message where Chris was saying that him and Jonathan were thinking about or wanted to make a Diablo-like game, and that sounded amazing, I thought. So.
And for context, you were living in Sweden at the time,
Oh,
right?
yeah, so I'm on the opposite side of the world.
Yeah, literally about as far as you can go.
I think we needed an artist, and we knew no one who's ever drawn anything in their lives. And Eric is an accomplished artist and has done a whole industrial design thing. He wrote a textbook that many universities use. Like he's up there. And so I said to him, "Where would we find a lead artist?" And he looked at plane tickets.
Damn,
The Trinity was formed.
That's
Chris
Giga Chad, bro. That's Giga Chad. From Sweden to New Zealand, it's literally the opposite side of the world. That's fucking alpha, bro.
With his vision for the next great ARPG to fill the gap they saw in the market and scratch that eternal Diablo 2 itch. Jonathan Rogers, who knew from a very young age that he wanted nothing more than to make video games, and was completely on board with the project. And last but not least, Eric Olafsson, the man behind the art and aesthetic of the game. Now what they needed was funding to make this vision a reality. Unfortunately, at the time in New Zealand, the games industry was still very underdeveloped, making investors and funding difficult to obtain.
Like, it was dead, bro. Because I did this when I was a teenager. So they would have been like just starting to make PoE, right? They would have been like 20 something, and I would have been a teenager, and I was looking, I was googling like how to get into games, and there was software courses on like making business shit, nothing on games. There was no game stuff because I was looking to join into a games thing. There was just like software development. So there was software courses, but there was no mention of games anywhere. I was like, making games, New Zealand, and these guys literally made it, bro. These guys made it. These guys started up the meta straight. Now there is games. Now you can go to school and be like, oh yeah, get fucking game engineer.
We're lucky to have rich friends, so they've been willing to invest some money in the project to see it to fruition. It's very difficult to get venture capitalists or angel investors interested, especially in online games. There's a mixture of fear and misunderstanding in the industry.
That's where their fourth co-founder came in. That rich friend was none other than Brian Weissman. Weissman lives in the United States, and he privately funded the project's early development as its executive producer, believing in the vision that Chris Wilson and the others had brought forth. Brian was a pro Magic the Gathering player from 1994 to 1999. For all you MTG fans out there, he invented the most well-known control deck in all of Magic history.
Damn, bro. Shit. This is Giga Chad, bro. I never heard of this guy, but this guy's like the Hearthstone god. This guy's like Hearthstone god.
No.
He's like Reynad, bro. This is Reynad of Magic the Gathering. Right? Damn.
As the deck.
I met Brian in the early 2000s because we both played online role-playing games, and at the time we were playing a game called Diablo 2, a very formative game, and that resulted in a close friendship which has endured to this day.
And one interesting thing kept reappearing in our conversations over and over again. Could we in fact make a game that would be a worthy sequel to Diablo 2? Crazy idea.
Chris Wilson has an absolutely...
That's motherfucking... This is the reason why these MTG Andes, like Chris and this other guy, this Brian Wiseman guy, this is the reason why div cards are in the game. Do you know what's pissing me off, though? Why the fuck is there not a playable card game in PoE? Like, for real. Like, why? How come there's no Gwent equivalent? Like, why is there no mini Magic? No, it should be a side thing. No, for real. There should be a side game, completely optional. Don't need to do it at all. It's literally like entirely optional. Don't need to do it. There's no power behind it. Completely cosmetic. Where the fuck is our playable card game in PoE? If there is no playable card game in PoE 2, I'm gonna be pissed off, bro. Bro, they made a playable card game for ExileCon as a meme. Okay, they are clearly capable of making a playable card game. Why is there no playable card game inside PoE 2 or PoE currently?
The insane Magic collection, and I'll have a video linked in the description for those interested.
I love Gwent. I love Gwent, Jen. That was literally one of my favorite things about The Witcher was Gwent, and like it wasn't even close. I was honestly, I'd get to zones, and that was the thing I was looking forward to the most of the time was the Gwent. Like the Gwent tournament quest for each zone. Whenever I found out there's a new Gwent tournament, I'd be so hyped. I wake up excited to play Gwent. I'm like, fuck yeah, bro, I'm going to get me some new Gwent cards, and then with the new Gwent cards, I'm going to upgrade my deck, I'm going to go to the fucking Gwent tournament, I'm going to fucking destroy that shit, homie. Let's fucking log in. That shit was fucking sick. Okay, and they could make a way better version of Gwent, bro. Considering that Chris is like a 5-head, and then, he's also obsessed with card games, so clearly it's easily possible. Easily possible.
In the video, he shows off some of this collection of his, which contains some of the craziest Magic the Gathering misprints that I've ever seen. In late 2006, early 2007, the trio used Chris's garage as an office space. The first year, the guys did nothing but talk about the project and played games for further research, in an attempt to dissect what made different games so compelling, as well as meticulously going over the details of their company and laying out the foundations for their game.
Back in the mid-2000s, my co-founders and I had played a ton of Diablo 2, like thousands and thousands and thousands of hours. And as we, over time, tired of the game, we looked at other action RPGs that we wanted to try out. We tried out Dungeon Siege series and Titan Quest and so on. And we played those games too and enjoyed them, but only for dozens of hours rather than thousands of hours. And so this caused us to ask, why did we sink so much more time into Diablo 2? What was perfect? What made that game the best action RPG that had ever existed? And so we came up with a bunch of design pillars that we feel a perfect action RPG needs that some of the other games hadn't quite hit in all cases.
Those design pillars are still used by Grinding Gear games today, albeit a bit more refined and expanded upon. Their unpaid research and development time that first year was well spent. Brian Weissman's funding aided in their ability to hire salaried workers and contractors, as well as rent out actual office space as the team grew. Their vision was starting to become a reality, and after much debate, the co-founders had finally decided on a company name, Grinding Gear Games. The name had a hidden double meaning which they thought was clever, and it fit perfectly. Grinding Gear Games stood for both the visual representation of the gears grinding together as shown in their logo, but the name also exhibits the core gameplay loop of Path of Exile, which has you grinding for the best gear you can acquire.
You know how good that feels, though? Like, I was thinking about? I was thinking about how exciting it is in a fucking league launch in PoE, and like how you're excited to like wake up in the morning and just log in and start grinding out your gear, like improve your character. And I was thinking about how I was waking up with the World of Warcraft, and I was thinking, man, there ain't nothing for me to fucking do. I'm not even excited. Like I'm in just chatting, watching some random video about the history of GGG, and I'm not even excited at all to log into WoW to grind out gear, which is like that's so sad. Like what the fuck? It's an MMORPG. I should be waking up and like they are like the king of grinding. They invented grinding. MMOs like that's what you like. I don't know if you played RuneScape before. You logged in. The fuck? You play classic WoW, bro? You logged into, back in the day when you just like out there like doing the same dungeon over and over and over again, trying to get the fucking one. I mean, what I'm saying is like, dude, Jesus Christ, what the fuck have they done to their game, bro? Why is retail WoW so dog shit, dude? Straight up. Like, there's no grinding, dude.
The small GGG team worked in secret for the next several years, not even publicizing the fact that they were making a game, not until what they had was ready to blow people's minds. In 2010, with Diablo 3 now announced and set to release in 2012, Chris and the team knew it was now or never to build hype for their game. The project was originally going to be called One With Nothing, a name which was scrapped in favor of the more epic title, Path of Exile. It was speculated that the name Path of Exile was inspired by this D2 expansion set, Lord of Destruction, and so in September of 2010, they flew to the US to show the world what they had been working on.
Strike them. It's like, actually, I'm sorry, GGG, we actually own you now. Yeah, we technically made your game. All right. Yeah, it's actually If I'd seen this, I'd have been like, man, this looks dog shit. And then, you know, I think that's what I did do when I saw it. Like compared to PoE, compared to D3. Like purely based on appearance. Jesus, this is some janky ass shit right here. Well, they were just doing default.
Grinding Gear Games and Path of Exile were completely unknown at the time, but the announcement of their game was a success. It was unique, and although not perfect, the game was well polished for its stage of development, and scratched that Diablo 2 itch for many players. Path of Exile received coverage in major publications at the time, including PC Gamer, Inc. Gamers, IGN, and more. Alpha and closed beta for the game ran from 2010 to 2013, and the team had scaled up from the original 3 all the way to 18 employees and contractors, looking to see the project through. The open beta was launched and the team was on top of the world. Things were going well for the indie developer, very well, achieving a peak of 70,000 concurrent users and nearly 2 million signups. Their initial growth was spectacular, but maintaining those players was the issue. As their small weekly patches shifted to large quarterly updates, they started to see a rise in returning and new players. These large content updates became known as challenge leagues, which would reset the economy and bring forth a ton of new content. Leagues and expansions allowed for both experimentation for future game mechanics, and also did its job in bringing players back fairly consistently every update. On October 23rd, 2013...
I mean, seasons are already a thing in D2 and D3 and like a million other games, right? They're just doing seasons with updates, right? It's a smart way of doing it, in my opinion. It's the best way of doing it. It's like, it's actually so... It's such a good way to play a game, chat, because you can play the game and have as much fun as you want with it, and then you can be like... Then you can, once you're like, all right, fuck, I'm done. You can stop playing, and then you can just be like, you know that if you just wait, there's going to be some new badass shit coming. And then you can just get excited for that. Like, it's actually, like, I love that. I fucking love that, bro. And it's, like, not so long that you, like, completely forget about it and you don't care anymore. It's just right, you know? The only time it's bad is when it lines up with another game that you want to play. That's the only time it's bad, which is very rare, but it does happen sometimes.
Path of Exile was officially released.
Sometimes. Yeah.
They named me Sinner. They stripped me of my life.
Shit, bro.
But this land was a wealthy land. Bounty as plentiful as bones. There is a life here, if I have the will to take it. I will take from others.
I don't even know what that's... Is that removed now or what?
I will use others to take from this world. Or I will fight alone. I am an exile, condemned to live in fear.
Dude, that butthole thing, man. Hell yeah.
If I
Look how old these art assets are.
One thing.
But this is the exact game we're playing today. Like all these, like you look at everything, one of these art assets, they're all the same. Imagine how insane like all the PoE2 mobs are going to be. Because these things have like what, 3 moving parts or something, 4 moving parts. The new game's going to be like PoE2 is going to have like each mob has 20 moving parts, or no, 100. I don't know how many. I don't know how many. And they've all got like individual physical interactions, and they all do all sorts of crazy shit. I wonder, are they going to be able to make like new entirely? You know, like with the current engine. Do you think they're going to have new physics-based skills that you know that we have never seen in the current game because they can't do it? I'm kind of excited to see what that looks like. Yeah.
Conquer the...
No, it's ban skill. 1 second. I just hate people like you. I'm just going to put menu actually. All right, fuck off.
Beast within.
Grinding Gear Games had learned a lot of lessons through Alpha and Beta, and they had their fair share of ups and downs over the years to follow 1.0, but they've never lost sight of their original vision and have always remained authentic and transparent. Both the team size and the content additions to the game have scaled up tremendously as the game has grown over the years. Let's go over the 3 things that I think have allowed Path of Exile and Grinding Gear games to not only survive, but thrive. There are many more factors than the 3 that I'll be going over here, but I'm going to list off the top 3 things that I think have allowed the game to grow relatively consistently year over year. First up has to be their free-to-play business model. In 2006, when they were first laying out their foundational principles in Chris Wilson's garage, this one was near the top of their list. At the time of Path of Exile's inception, they would have been one of the first free-to-play Western games on the market.
And you're using your own technology for the engine, correct?
That's right, yeah. Right. It was written entirely in-house.
Why'd you do that?
It was cheaper. I mean, we funded the game based on our savings and, the savings of friends and family and stuff. So we had to take cheap, smart options rather than buying tools because we just couldn't afford them.
Economical?
Yes, indeed. Well, where possible, we'll try to think of a way which saves us money to solve a problem.
Got it. And so why free to play in that case? Following up.
When we started the project in 2006, there weren't any Western free games. It was popular in Asian markets. Games like Maple Story were doing really well. Mm-hmm. So we had this plan to be the first free-to-play game in Western markets. Then it took 6 years to make the game. So we were not the first. And since then, the term free-to-play has become poisoned a bit by...
I must admit, yeah, I was going to say, I think it's weird when I have free-to-play, I think shit game. Obviously, I'm like, wait a minute, Path of Exile's free-to-play, and it's not shit. I just had a lot of shit games. There's a lot of shit games. You hear there's a lot of dog shit games. But, hey, now it's been getting better. It's because these games, we understand there's so many games that were like free. The reason why is because the quote unquote free to play games all got totally annihilated by pay to win dog shit trash, right? And that's the issue.
Games that sell advantage and experience potions and a ton of convenience options, which are almost cheating, if you see what I mean. Yes. So we've been very clear that while our game is free, we don't sell advantage in that way. And so this is something our fans actually really appreciate.
Ethical.
Well, you just sell a little bit of an advantage, Chris.
They knew that their monetization model would prove effective, but they were completely unaware at just how effective. It all started out...
They sell a totally acceptable amount of advantage. Like whatever it is, $60, and then you get all the advantage you could possibly get. That's it. Like, it's a baseline and of, like, what a really good game costs. And you're going to play this game way more than you'd ever play a normal game. So it's, like, easily the best $60 you'll ever spend. Or whatever it is, 40 or 100 or whatever how much money you think it is. Right? Some of the MTX, MTX is totally relevant. I mean, bro, I played, like, 80 to 90% of this league with no MTX. Just, whatever. You do not need MTX. That's like the most fucking L tick I think I've ever heard.
As a crowdfunding program on their website. As funding grew thin for their beta development, they looked to the success of Kickstarter campaigns for other games. Kickstarter was riddled with fees that they didn't want to pay, so they decided to run their own variation of crowdfunding containing different backer tiers on their official Path of Exile website. The $10 tier contained a closed beta key, and the higher up you went, the more rewards you would receive. No pay to win, ever. The company raised over $2.5 million during this campaign. The early stages of what would later become supporter packs. These packs would contain physical items from the developers, such as t-shirts, mouse pads, decor, art, and otherwise. They would also contain some pretty exclusive and amazing...
Do you guys think it's kind of weird that they still do this shit? Do you guys think it's still kind of weird they do this shit? Because I was thinking about that. Like, I realized, like, man, I'm spending like $500 on these. Do you think it's what? Do you think no, it's not? Because I was thinking to myself, like, doesn't like. I mean, no wrong. I don't mind spending the money, because I'm a streamer. But I see it and I'm like, man, that's like a lot of money. That's like a lot of money. Millionaire takes. You would think is you don't need to buy them, but the option's there to spend a fuck ton of money, right? The option's there, and it's like they're super successful now, right? They're like super, super successful. So clearly they don't need to do this, but they do it anyway. And people happily choose to either buy it or not buy it. But the fact that like it's, I don't know, the fact that it's there, it's like you've still got a Kickstarter campaign going when you don't need a Kickstarter campaign. Aren't you being hypocrite if you don't need to buy them, but you dislike the cosmetics in other games? How do you mean? I buy them and I just don't use the cosmetics. I buy them to show the cosmetics one time on stream, and then I don't use them. And then occasionally chat harasses me enough to the point where They're like, put on MTX, put on MTX. I'm like, all right, fuck it, I'll put on MTX. I literally don't give a fuck. Unless my character actively looks retarded, I don't give a fuck. And I have a very low bar. I think a character wearing full random items looks cool. It gives me nostalgia, like a you know, I think of like back to WoW when I was like, you know, just in leveling gear, you know, and you get all sorts of weird shit on. I like that kind of chaotic look. What I'm saying is like this, I don't know. I was thinking to myself, it seems kind of weird that a super successful company is still doing like these kind of Kickstarter-esque packs, even to this day, when they're clearly super successful and they don't necessarily need to do that. But it's totally optional, right? It's totally optional. Which then it's like, I don't know. It's fine, but then at the same time, I think, like, do you think that people who have really bad self-control feel forced to buying it and then they spend like a bunch of money on it? I don't know. Holy yeah. Like, do you think there's people with low self-control that just spend more money than they would otherwise spend because of the fact they give them the option to spend as much money as they can? I don't know. Yeah.
Such as T-shirts, mouse pads, decor,
and they do the thing. They do the thing where they say, "Hey, you can get this Giga pack, bro. It's totally optional. Don't need to do it." And then they say some shit like, "Hey, by the way, this other pack that was up there, it's going away forever." Hey, this other pack, like, you're never gonna be able to get it ever again. By the way, it's like, bro. But hey, it's free choice, and it's not like malicious. It's not like gambling, and it's not pay to win. So I mean, fuck. It did just occur to me years ago when I kind of was a little bit weird.
And otherwise, they would also contain some pretty exclusive and amazing in-game cosmetics. To add on to that, you would receive the monetary value of that supporter pack as store points to spend on anything of your choosing. For instance, a $100 supporter pack contains all of the merchant cosmetics that are listed, as well as 1,000 in-game store points, which is the equivalent of the $100 that you just spent. They try very hard to cram value into these packs, and they seem to get better every year. By allowing everyone to try your full game out for free, those that stick around and receive hundreds of hours of enjoyment out of the game actually want to help with the funding of continued development. It's a direct incentive, especially when the content updates have done nothing but increase in size and quality over the years. This free-to-play model that they've kept the entire time has been pivotal to Grinding Gear Games' success in my eyes. Zero barrier to entry. The second success factor would have to be their leagues and overall content release cadence. Chris Wilson likes to attribute the realization of this lesson to his now good friend and infamous gamer, Criparian.
The final story is one that I did not realize myself. I wish I was smart enough to think of this, but this actually came from Criparian, the awesome streamer who played a lot of Path of Exile at the time. And so Criparian and I were chatting on Skype, as I like to say that we did occasionally. And he said to me, "You know what, Chris? I've got a lesson for you that really helped me with my streaming." He said, "Every day I will wake up and I'll stream at a reliable time. I'm there right at that moment. And I'm going to stream until a predictable time. And then I'm going to work on my highlights video and I'm going to post that at a predictable time. And then I'm back tomorrow doing exactly the same thing. And I'm going to try not to take days off. I'm just going to stream at these times."
He's still doing it, bro. He's still doing it with Hearthstone. Straight up. He's still doing it. He's probably logged into Hearthstone right now. Wouldn't be surprised. How do we check? Twitch.tv. He doesn't fuck around, bro. NL Crip. Okay, he's not on Hearthstone right now. To be fair, I actually know when he streams. I actually don't know when he streams. He played. Yeah, fuck. He's not on right now, bro. What the fuck? Too early? Shit, bro. It's funny because I learned the same lesson from Crip, by the way. Well, I think I either watched this GDC talk and then learned it from Crip. I think I may have learned it from Chris, from learning from Crip. And then I implemented that exact strategy. And it's really potent, really powerful. It's true. It's a smart take. Crip probably learned that lesson from someone else, right? And that's how life works, you know? We are standing on the shoulders of the people before us. Everyone learned something from someone, who learned something from someone, who learned something from someone, who learned something from someone.
And the reason he explained was because that way, when someone comes home from work and they're wanting to watch Criparian, if that's the time of day that he's streaming, then they'll be able to watch him. And if they want to watch a video before they go to bed or whatever the timing is, it will be there. And the day that it's not there is the day they look on the internet and say, what will entertain me? What else is there in the world? And they'll find some other thing, maybe another streamer, maybe a TV show. And now that's the thing they're doing for entertainment. And he felt that his numbers dropped significantly if he deviated from his very rigid schedule. Now, he's a powerhouse of streaming, right? He's amazing. And he recommended that we do a similar schedule with Path of Exile. Because he said, look at your graph of what you've actually done in 2014. I made this graph, not him. But it was all over the place, right? We've got medium leagues at 20 weeks, big ones at 16. They arbitrarily get small and close together. No Path of Exile player is going to think anything other than, is that game dying? Like, what's going on with them getting smaller, and what's with the timing? No one can predict anything. And so he strongly suggested we have a rigid schedule, because that way it's more convenient for him, because then he knows when to stream it, but it's also convenient for everyone else. And so we tried this out. So this was our new schedule, the new era of leagues, as it's called. And so they're every 13 weeks. So this means exactly 4 of them fit into a year. That means that we know that they're going to be on the second weekend of the final month in each quarter, or whatever we do. And this perfectly fits having one a few weeks before Christmas and a week before GGG, and a week before E3. It just matches everything, and it's great. So we started doing this, and we were initially doing some pipelining. We work on a small one while working on a bigger one in the background.
Do you think there's going to be a league coming up, or do you think it's going to be pure PoE2? What do you guys think? Like, I'm thinking they're just going to be a lot. I think they're just going to say, fuck this. They're just going to extend this league, and then PoE2 early access. Right, big deck. I mean, let's be honest. They got one shoot. It's not like they're going to have 2 teams. Like, fucking. Yeah, I feel like this league is going to get extended, and PoE2 gaming. Lock it in.
And then in the second part of the cycle, we released the big one, and then repeat this. And that enabled us to experiment with scope and so on, because at this point, we still weren't 100% sure how large these had to be to have the correct effect. We were pretty sure 13 weeks, which is roughly 3 months, was the right amount of time.
During this game development conference talk, Chris continues to explain how players quitting your game is inevitable.
That's a good talk, by the way. If you haven't watched this talk, it's potent. I watched it like twice now. It's really good.
Their goal was to ensure that with this new content release cycle and predictable schedule, that the players that did stop playing for whatever the reason may be would have a plan to return for the following league, and that they would know reliably when the following league would be released. This content cycle has been working out very well for both GGG and the players ever since.
And so when you look at it in the context of all of the Path of Exile history, you can see that we were clearly declining. There's no argument about that for the first few years, and then really clearly climbing.
They were clearly climbing.
Crip literally made GGG. Like, they should just give Crip like $10 million, like 10 cent money. The fuck? Like, dude, straight up, Crip literally made. To be honest, the first time I found out about PoE was when someone linked me a clip of like Crip dying to like that Alaria boss when she detonated a boss corpse and it killed him. That was the beginning I became aware of PoE existing. So like, not only did he make them from like, giving them the strategy to make their game pop off, he also made them in terms of visibility. Like, I mean, basically Crip, it literally is GGG, bro. Straight up.
Indeed, and with their latest patch 3.25, Settlers of Kalgur, which was released on July 26th of this year.
You guys want to see the clip? Okay. Someone have the clip right now. I can probably find it fast and someone can link it, I'm guessing. www.youtube.com Crip DD Death Alaria. 11 years ago? Well, there's too many, bro. Is this it?
God, I haven't done her yet.
You wanna jump in? We're on her now, so.
He's like, oh man, I don't want to leave the map.
So good XP.
I have both bosses on me and I killed like 1 million mobs. You guys okay at the door?
Yeah, where are you at?
I have both bosses on me and I killed like 1 million mobs.
Okay.
He's standing the DDs, he's crazy.
That's starting to hurt.
He just stands the DDs and give a fuck. But, dude, is he no level up? What is he doing? Oh my god.
Hey, Po.
Oh, there we go.
On the dive, bro.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna join Beer and Mouse.
Oh my god, I just crashed on Piety. Client stopped working.
Rip. Rip. Oh!
What the fuck?
Boom!
Okay.
I died. What the hell was that?
What?
How did we die?
She corpse exploded the corpse of the boss.
Wow. Oh my god!
Wow. Died?
Oh
yep.
Man.
And this is why, by the way, this shit-ass fucking death is a reason why DD is, because Chris loved this. He loved this. He's talked about how much he liked this for the longest time. He thought it was such an amazing interaction. How it was so cool that could happen. And this is why DD has plagued the game for fucking the last 11 years. Okay? Because of this fucking... Because this Crip simultaneously made PoE, then he also ruined PoE, bro, by dying like that. God damn it. An unintended death. I mean, Jesus Christ. It's straight up decade, bro. Fucking TD, bro. Oh my god.
Are you serious?
It's an interesting day today, bros.
What? Wow. Are you serious? What?
It's crazy that, like, they're confused. Like, that's actually insane to them that could happen. But, like, that's happened to, like... that happens, like, 5 times a league or something. To, like, it's 5 streamers. Now, still... I mean, we can find like how many, like, you know, like Khan. None of these are the reps, bro.
What? Are you kidding me, dude? What?
Wait. That's actually a pretty good edit. That's a pretty good edit. I'll give you that. It's a pretty nice one. Okay.
They continued that same growth trend.
Okay,
did
someone actually get the clip? Did someone finally get the clip? I swear to God, if this is not actually the rep, I'm banning you. If this is not actually the rep, okay, here we go. He's in the sewers, and look, there we go. Okay, here we go.
What did I click?
There it is.
What?
And the reason why that happened, dude, is because Crip died to the same way. That's the reason why. It's the same exact thing.
What did I click?
A boss DD, and he just dies. And that's because Crip died like that, and they thought it was such a cool idea. And it's like, is that cool? No, it's not cool. It's fucking dog shit.
Release of July 26th of this year, they continued that same growth trend. On the same day as the release of 3.25, the game exceeded its all-time peak on Steam with over 229,000 players online concurrently. And what some people neglect to remember is that Path of Exile has its own standalone client as well. And as long as they keep the quality and cadence consistent, I don't see that stopping anytime soon. My third and final, arguably most important factor is the community that they've built. The game was in development for over 7 years. For at least 4 of those, Grinding Gear Games did no press or announcements for their game. No one knew about them or the game that they were creating. From the time Path of Exile was announced in 2010, Chris Wilson was extremely active on their website's forums. He made weekly dev blogs on their YouTube channel to update everyone on their development, and he was constantly involved on Reddit. Not only did this allow him to quite literally shape the community and keep the messaging of his company and game authentic, it was something the fans of the game really appreciated, and Chris really enjoyed it too. Between constant news updates, announcements, and other ones.
Do you remember when Path Maths said like Chris was like a bald retard or something, and that his shareholders need to like take over and fire him? What an idiot. What a fucking idiot. Holy shit, bro. What a clown. Like, dude, look at this. Look at these motherfuckers. Single-handedly, like, okay, when I say single-handedly, okay, six-handedly building the sickest ARPG that ever be made, okay? And you're saying fire these guys for some suits, okay? And you're trying to call this literal fucking legend beast, like the Jesus of game creation, retarded. Like, what a clown. What a fucking clown, bro.
Chris earned the trust and respect of the players. And in 2014, Chris said if they raised over $25,000 for the Child's Play charity, that he would shave his head for the community. They did just that, and it was time for him to ascend to his true form.
Hey, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games. Over the last couple of weeks, we raised over $25,000 for the Child's Play charity, and I promised I'd shave my head if we reached 25k, so let's go find a hairdresser, I guess.
There it is, dude. Based. You need a hairdresser, Chris.
This one looks good. Yep. Sure. Yep.
God damn, bro.
surfaces simulating building pretty well, right there. Looks good.
I don't think it needs to simulate, bro.
I like it.
It does look good. Yeah. Well done. Good on you.
Thank you very much.
God mode, bro.
Alright, gotta face the music back at the office.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta film that part too.
Yeah, I'll get the reaction.
See you guys.
Hiya, bro.
Alright, we have to
Wait,
get some reactions now.
they do it free because it's for charity. They probably did it free, dude. Log in. Doesn't pay, just walks out.
It's pretty cold out there. It's like 10 degrees. Need some cold resist.
That same year, he also did the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge.
ALS is a horribly crippling disease, and it's a really serious business. I know it's funny to watch videos of people
I haven't seen this.
You should seriously consider donating to the cause. I've put $100 in, and hopefully you guys do as well. I'd like to nominate 3 people. First person is Max Schaefer from Runic Games. The second one is Mike Diskett from 5 Live Studios.
Fuck up those
and
nerds,
finally
bro.
Sean from Protein Pill.
Get him.
Okay, well we've got this nice and cold for quite a while now, so hit me guys. Okay. I need more cold resist.
The game was really solidifying itself in the market, and the team was earning respect and admiration across the board. Chris and the team at Grinding Gear Games have not only built a fantastic game, they've handcrafted and curated an amazing community of fans. Fans that will follow them and support them until the end. There are a million more factors I could mention, such as their highly unique and versatile skill system, their passive tree, whether that terrifies or delights you, maps, items, and all of their meta systems. And way more that I could list off and talk about, but I wanted to keep the length of this video relatively reasonable. I'd love to hear about what your favorite thing about Path of Exile is, and what keeps you coming back every league. If you'd be so kind to let me know down in the comments. Now let's wrap up this video and take a look at how Grinding Gear Games plan to carry forward this recipe for success.
Yeah, it's gearing, right? It's gear. It's itemization, I think. No, 100%. Well, wait, if there was no... Oh, no. If there was no good bosses, I don't think I enjoy the game. I think the game's shit. No, it's the bosses. If I simulate in my head the exact same game but with no bosses, I'm bored. Because I like the whole point is to like kill bosses. Yeah, that's the bosses.
In Path of Exile 2.
I mean, it had dog shit gearing, but the bosses were good.
Originally announced at ExileCon in 2019, Path of Exile 2 was meant to be a major content update to the original game.
I mean, it needs
was going to be
right?
the 4.0 patch.
And we're really proud to finally reveal Path of Exile 4.0.
The gods are dead.
I was there, bro.
Men will always seek to take their place.
Criminals! Your sentence is to be hanged from the neck until dead. Let your souls feed the first ones, and your bodies feed the land.
The only result is pain and death.
The demon is escaping! Kill her!
Get her.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro.
This vision has changed a bit since then. Here's a portion of the keynote from ExileCon 2023.
When we announced Path of Exile 2 at ExileCon 2019, we told you guys that we were releasing it as an expansion to PoE 1 and that both campaigns would be playable in the same game client with a shared endgame. But PoE 2's scope has continued to grow and grow, and it's far more than just an expansion with a new campaign. It has entirely new monsters, skills, mechanics, classes, everything you'd expect from the next generation of action RPGs. Not to mention revamps of most of the PoE 1 League content. This thing is just freaking huge. There was a point when we realized that our plan to replace PoE 1 with PoE 2 would essentially be getting rid of a game that people love for no real reason. So we made a decision. Path of Exile 1 and 2 will be separate with their own mechanics, balance, endgames, and leagues. But it's still a shared platform. Your microtransactions are available across both games. Everything you have ever purchased or will ever purchase in the future will be usable in both games unless it's hyper-specific to the content of one of them. You can't transform into a bear in PoE 1, so a reskin of your bear form isn't going to work. But you absolutely can equip the awesome armor set that you got and use all your stash tabs.
The separation wasn't well received initially after the announcement, but it truly was the right path forward. It removed any shackles that the original game would have placed on the design of Path of Exile 2.
I think it's a play. Like, it was so confusing before. Though, like the expansion, but not PoE2, but it is PoE2, but it's like you play both, and then you can do like one campaign. Not the other. Like it's this is way better. It didn't make any sense, and it was just straight up confusing. Hey, all they need to do now is make sure PoE2 is cracked. That's it. Like, that's all they gotta do. They're just gonna make sure PoE2 is cracked, and then we're good. Now, the bad thing about this is, if PoE2 sucks, well, that's gonna be worse. Right, because now they got all this new content that developed. That's not going to be going for PoE1. It's only for PoE2, and then and then it's like, well, okay, but that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. No, it's not going to happen.
And both games will receive content updates that offset each other, so that you can constantly play Path of Exile 1 and then back to Path of Exile 2. Rinse and repeat. For those of you unsure who Mark Roberts, the man standing next to Jonathan, is, he's affectionately referred to as Mark II, since he was the second Mark to join the company. But most everyone else calls him Neon. And he's an absolute badass with an encyclopedic knowledge of the game.
He does keto. He does keto, so...
Competed in race events and on the ladder for fun. He plays the game a lot and really knows his shit. Starting out as a simple QA tester on Path of Exile, Neon has proved himself an invaluable asset to the team, and I couldn't be happier that him and Jonathan are heading up this sequel project. I have to say, from the footage I've seen the past few years, Path of Exile 2...
Wait, I don't know if he does keto. No, wait, maybe I tried to sell him on keto? Fuck, I can't remember now. Either I tried to convert him to keto, or he did keto. I can't remember now, actually. I definitely did. We talked about calories quite a lot, though. I definitely had a deep dive with calories with them for a while. It was a good. And then I tried him to get. I multiple times I tried to get him to buff melee. Every time, bro. Every interaction, bro, we've had a conversation about melee buffs. Hey, it's been working though, because every time after I talked to him about buffing melee gets buffed. I'm just saying, bro. It's always happened. Now, is that just like I happened to do a rain dance and then it rained? I don't know, maybe. But I have a conversation about him buffing melee, and he does it.
2 looks absolutely spectacular. As an avid MMO player, the WASD movement has me very excited. And just everything about the game seems so well thought out and polished. You can really see how much Grinding Gear Games and Path of Exile has evolved over the years. Path of Exile 2 is their opportunity to truly bring their new tech and all of those lessons learned forward. With early access open for everyone beginning in November of this year, barring any issues. When comparing Path of Exile 2 to other games on the market, I, like many others, find myself asking, how on earth is this game free? Grinding Gear Games has achieved the impossible. Their continued growth can be attributed to a lot of strategy and luck, but the amount of hard work and passion that has been poured into this company and game cannot be understated. I personally began playing in Breach League myself and have returned off and on ever since.
Hey, you say because it's not, it is free. You can. No, bro. Nah. Shut the fuck up. Okay, what the fuck is the majority of the game? Literally, the majority of the game for most people is literally just doing the campaign once. Legitimately, I'm not even kidding. That's like the people who just play leagues and play for months and months and months. Those guys are hardcore. Those are the power users. This is the crazy guys. Okay, most people do the campaign. Literally, they're just gonna log in, do the story. Okay, guess what? You can fucking do the story for free, and it's gonna be a fucking sick experience. That's a fucking free game. Nah, it is. And on top of that, dude, don't even get me started on the Chinese guy who literally won like fucking 50 races. Guess what he did it with? Just the free stash tabs. He just had one. He just didn't use any of the special ones. None of that shit. Alelia, his name was, and he just destroy everyone with just a single stash tab. Okay, one guy. Now, if you could duplicate that gamer, and then one had the stash tab with the affinities and all that shit, and had the premium stash tabs, of course, he would probably be like a minute faster or 2 minutes faster, and he would win. But what I'm saying is clearly it's not. It's like the stash tabs are like a 10% advantage or something, right? Don't get me wrong. In terms of quality of life, it's like 300% quality of life or something, 400%. It's a lot of quality of life. It's a lot of quality of life. But in terms of actual raw dog speed, it's not that much more. If you look at some of the top races and stuff, guys, a lot of them will just operate out of a single stash tab anyway. They'll just literally have one quad dab, and that's what they just have it all there. Because it's actually faster to operate out of that. What a top racist! Ultimate top racist. What I was trying to say is the majority of what the game is the fucking just the literal campaign for most people, and you can do that for free. So it is free. And on top of that, you can literally be competitive and still be very effective and play, if you're poor as fuck and literally can't afford anything, and you can still pop off, even as a free gamer. Now, of course, if you're going to play the game for, like, more than 100 hours, fucking buy the stash tabs. Like, if you enjoy the game that much, support the company, buy the stash tabs. There's, like, there is that interview, hey, but it's not, like, some crazy cost. Is anyone got a time machine so we can go ahead 11 weeks, 5 days, and 2 hours? Actually, no. If I had the ability to do that, I wouldn't do that. Because that would be like deleting 11 weeks of your life.